few things are as rewarding and as pleasurable as baking your own bread. So I'm going to show you an easy recipe. I'm going to make some bread today in the pizza oven, in the wood burning oven by Stila. It does such a great job of making bread, and I'm going to show you an easy same day recipe. Sourdough is delicious, but it's not always practical. So today we're just going to make some baguettes. I love baguettes. We're going to make them in the oven, like I said. And let me show you my recipe. Okay, now just a little bit of information if you want to geek out a little bit. I've used what's called a baker's percentage to make up my recipe. I've got 700 grams of bread flour. Now the baker's percentage is something you figure out how much of everything else you need based on your flour weight. Why do I have 700 grams? It's really simple. You need to put in 1% by weight of yeast, of active yeast. Fresh yeast is a bit different, and these little packets of active yeast come in 7 grams. So it's easy. I use the whole packet. 700 grams of white bread flour, 7 grams of yeast, no wastage. If I had a 10 gram packet, I probably would use a kilogram of flour just to make it a bit easier, because once you open it up, it might lose its freshness. So that's what I've done. I've got 700 grams of white bread flour, stone ground white bread flour from Millstone. And then you use 2% salt. So if you've got 700 grams flour, that's 14 grams of salt. 1% sugar, that's just to help it on a little bit. That's 7 grams of sugar. And then we've got to put in some fat. Why do we need fat in bread? Well, you don't actually need fat in bread. If you like a crispy crust, and if you're going to eat it same day, you don't need any fat. But I want this bread to last a bit longer, and I want a soft crumb, soft on the inside, and I want a soft crust. So we're going to add some fat. And for this 700 grams of flour, I've used 50 grams of fat. Really, it's between 6 and 8%. And I got lard. That's what I'm putting in, because I have it and it's delicious, and it really has such a nice effect on the bread, on the flavor. Water, I've gone with the 68% hydration. So that's can't remember. $476 grams of water. Why have I gone 68% hydration? Well, I don't know, can't tell you. It's the percent. I've made this recipe a bunch of times, and I found that 68% is the sweet spot. It's nice to make a nice high hydration dough. The results are really nice, but I don't want to faff today. I want to just get this done. I've got a lot of cooking that we're doing. Got some grenadilla sorbet. Carmen's busy with it. I've switched off the churning now so that you can hear me. And then we're going to make a porchetta. We're going to go a bit, do a couple of fun things, because we've got some friends coming over. So to make it easy to work with, I've stuck to 68% hydration. It's just a little bit on the wetter side, but it's still easy to form. And it takes a little bit of practice, a little bit of skill. The wetter the dough gets, and your flour needs to be a much higher protein content sometimes as well. So, to be honest with you, I put 680 grams of water in this thing, and not 476, which is why I was a bit confused. So we're going to go in 476 grams. Ish. Kind of there. There we are. Of lukewarm body temperature water. Body temperature, stick your finger in, and there's no discernible temperature difference, and you know you've done it right. I always put my water in the bottom of my bowl, because then you don't get that little dry patch of flour. And I'm making it in a stand mixer. You can do exactly the same thing. Knead this by hand until it's smooth. Don't have time for that today. So I'm going in with my fat, the lard, that goes in there. That goes in there. And if you don't have lard, use oil, use olive oil, use butter, or go and buy yourself some speck and make some kayaks, and then you got lard. It's worth it, I promise you. And you've got to die of something, so. I think I've said that a few times already, I must stop saying it. I like to take my sugar and my salt and my yeast. I know salt kills yeast, not in this case, it's not going to. It's definitely not going to kill this yeast because this yeast is still in the packet. It doesn't want to come out. There we are. I like to mix it all in with the flour. And in we go. And you're done. Stick it in the mixer. Dough hook. Soft start, medium speed, about 10 minutes till it pulls together nicely and it's nice and smooth. If you don't do this with a machine, do it by hand. Probably take about 20 minutes of kneading, depending on how upset you are. It can go faster. And then we're going to cover it up. I'm going to let it double in size. It takes about an hour. With this yeast is quite strong. It takes about an hour. At which point, I'll light the fire inside the oven. I'm going to use charcoal today. Make a big fire in the middle of the oven on the floor with charcoal. My reason for using charcoal is because, again, it should heat the oven up in about an hour, and it's going to take me about an hour from when I shape my baguettes till when they are ready to pop into the oven. We're making it on the base of the oven, not on the little fire stand. The reason why, again, we want to get those stones nice and hot, and then we'll sort of take most of them out, scrape some of them to the side, so we've still got some heat in the oven. Pop our baguettes in there, and we'll be styling. Also, I've noticed it kind of helps clean your pizza stone when you make a fire on the pizza stone. So that's something I do from time to time. I just build a fire on the pizza stones, and it seems to clean them a little bit. So there's a little tip. Okay, we'll see you later. Alright, so I've lit the old fire in the Steeler oven. That's going nicely. And now it's time to shape. You can see this is risen wonderfully. And so we're going to turn it out. I'm going to work on this cutting board. It's a little bit small, but it's fine. And the reason for that is the dough doesn't stick to the wood as like it does to the old granite here. So let's just pull this out. Let's tease it out lightly. Ooh, so airy, so soft, so silky. That's a mixture of all the ingredients we put in here. It looks nice. And so I've got a baguette pan. This is my baguette pan. It's about 7 years old. Don't worry, it's not dirty. I do wash it every time, but it just builds up a bit of a patina. End up looking like this. And I'm going to spray it with some cooking spray. Divide this up into 4 because there's 4 slots on my baguette pan, and we're going to get shaping. So first thing, get a bit of flour in here. In and on. Get under there with the bench scraper. Alright. Just tease it out. And literally split it up in half that way. So give yourself a better idea of what half is in half that way. We're just cooking at home here. We're not selling these things, so we don't have to make sure that they're all identical in weight and stuff like that. bit overkill for this. There we have our 4 pieces. We're going to take them and just do a little pre-shape. Okay, they can actually move off the wooden board for now. Pat it down gently, and we're going to go in clockwise direction and pinch, pinch, pinch. Lots of flour in here. I'm just going to pinch it. It's a little ball like that. There we are, and we're going to let it rest, chill out for a little bit. As I said, we've got lots of flour here, too much actually. Pinch, go in a circle. The different things you can do at this point. We're basically just forming little balls. Let's move some of these out of the way. Just get this nicely. And now let's shape it into a baguette. So what we'll do, we'll turn it upside down, pat it down again, and now we're going to fold it in like that, make a little triangle, and then we're going to roll and tuck, 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 so we have a sausage shape like that. I'm going to do that with all 4 of them. Making sure that there's a nice seam at the bottom. Here we are. Time has come to shape our baguettes. Let's try and make sure they don't stick. Those little tears that we had now because they stuck to the board. And we want to shape them roughly the same size as our baguette pan. We'll shrink back so you can go a bit longer. And let me show you what I do. So you start with 2 hands on top of each other. You're going to push down with the one hand, roll, and then I roll. As you roll the one hand over, you put pressure, carry on rolling. And you keep an even pressure if you want the ends to be round. And if you want those little sharp bits, put your hands down at a 45 degree at the end and roll it. Let's see how it goes. There we are. So it's not perfect, but there it is, roughly as long as the baguette pan, and a lot thinner, so we can go even. And if we want the edges to be pointy, we go down at a 45 degree. And as you can see, you've got the seam side over here. Flip it around. Place it. I'm putting it on the baguette pan. If you don't have a baguette pan, you can use a tea towel. Put your tea towel down. Place your baguette over there. Just put some flour and sort of divide them like that in your tea towel if you're not bougie enough to have a proper baking couche, which I don't have, not that bougie. So let's do them all. Not a master baker, and we'll cover it up with a tea towel again, let it rise properly. This is called the proving stage. Properly prove, let it get double in size, and then it should be ready to go in our oven. Let's see. So how do you know your dough is finished proved? You do something called the poke test. Poke it, and if it jumps back immediately, you know it still must prove longer. But you see how that dent sort of stays there? Then you know it's ready, done proving, and bake it now. Let's just chat about scoring quickly. Why do we score? It's to allow it to expand. It's called oven spring, so that it doesn't crack. So you determine where it's going to crack basically. A lot of people like to score this way when they just sort of start out, because when you're in the shop or the bakery, it looks like it's been cut across, but that's really not the right way to score. If you divide the baguette up into 3, so the inner sort of third, you want to stick between those lines, and you're nearly cutting straight. I'm using a very sharp little knife here. A blade is better, and we're going to go positively. You see there, I've kind of stuck in that top third. There we are. There we are. And now that will expand in the oven when you put it in. Let's go get it in the oven. Cool. In goes our baguette. So if you don't have a baguette pan, you can use a normal oven sheet for this, baking sheet. And we're going to flip it every sort of 5 to 10 minutes. Keep an eye on it. It can be amazing. Okay, after the first sort of 7 minutes, give it a little twist, a little turn. See, it's rising beautifully. Got to stop it from burning. And there we have it, some gorgeous, soft, fresh baguettes, marvelously baked in this fantastic wood oven by Stila. All those marvelous flavors that you get from a wood oven. Great for some sandwiches. Delicious.